What's going on, everyone? And today I'm going to talk about the CompTIA Cybersecurity Analyst Certification Exam. So this is part of my mini series that I've started since Security Plus on the exams that I've done. It took me around 2 months to do this exam with a full-time job, so it isn't too bad. However, this exam does go more in depth in what you learn from Security Plus some. But again, it's not too bad, right? So first off, I'm going to start off with the resources that I use. And the only resource that I use in this instance is this textbook here by Cybex, authored by Mike Chappell and David Siddle, if I'm pronouncing their names correctly. I pretty much use that book. It has everything you need, practice exams. In the back, I think it has a pre-assessment if I'm not mistaken, and you have a couple of questions after every chapter, right? It's around, I want to say, 40 something bucks or 30 something bucks from what I remember. Could change, but anyways, let's get right into it, right? So the current version that we are at as of this recording is right here, CSO 003, right? And about the exam, it pretty much is going to test you on the knowledge and skills required to detect and analyze indicators of malicious activity, threat hunting, threat intelligence, using tools to manage, prioritize, and respond to attacks and vulnerabilities. Perform incident response processes, and then understand how to report and communicate that to your shareholders and other people of interest. The maximum number of questions is 85. It's multiple choice and performance based. A maximum of 165 minutes. It's recommended 4 years of hands-on experience as an incident response analyst or SOC analyst. So again, that's just a recommendation. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have 4 years to practice the exam. However, I will again warn that this is not like Security Plus, where you're usually or more so identifying security aspects. In this one, you are going to be tested on your knowledge, what to do, what not to do, and how to apply those things that you've learned or that you should know as a SOC analyst or incident response analyst into the security operations and so on and so forth. So it's definitely going to test you, right? So the exam is divided up into 4 domains. Domain 1, security operations, which take up the bulk of the exam, at 33%. Domain 2, vulnerability management, at 30%. Incident response and management, 20%. Reporting and communication, 17%. So as you can see, domain 1 and 2 takes up more than half of the exam. So you know that's where most of the questions are going to come from. Doesn't mean that you should neglect domain 3 and 4, but just a heads up on what you should focus on, especially if you're new. Okay, so domain 1, security operations, let's explore this a little bit. So you have your operation system concepts, so your Windows registry, how to harden it, file structures, system processes, stuff like that. Your logs, the infrastructure concepts, so serverless, virtualization, containerization, you have Kubernetes and stuff like that. Your network architecture, on-prem, cloud, hybrid, stuff like that. Identifying access management, so IAM, which is very important. And you also go into PAM and CASB, your encryption, how to prevent sensitive data loss or sensitive data protection in general. And then given a scenario, analyze indicators of potentially malicious activity, network related, host related, application related, so on and so forth. And then given the scenarios, use what appropriate tools and techniques you should use to determine the malicious activity. So it's going to teach you how to use or what you should look at in a SIM, SOAR, EDR, DNS. You're learning about sandboxing, how to read email headers, how to read your DMARCs, how to look at links, file analysis, learning scripting. You have to know a bit of scripting for this exam as well. Compare and contrast threat intelligence, threat hunting concepts. So you gotta know your bread and butter, your APTs, your hacktivists, script kiddies, nation states, TTPs, so your tactics, techniques, and procedures. Your threat intelligence, threat hunting. You also have to explain the importance and efficiency and process improvement in security operations. So how to make sure that your SOC environment is smooth. And then we're going to go into vulnerability management. So this is your asset discovery, special considerations, static versus dynamic, your credential versus non-credential scans, your passive versus active scanning, agent versus agentless, and you go into a little bit of industry frameworks. So your PCI DSS, your ISO 27000. You're learning a little bit about your tools, so Nmap, Metasploit, debugger. So this is a little bit of your taste in red team or pen testing. You're going into how to analyze data and its vulnerabilities. So knowing the difference between a false negative and a false positive, and a true negative and a true positive. Controls to mitigate attacks and software vulnerabilities. Explain concepts related to vulnerability response handling and management. So this is where you're going to learn about risk management principles, such as accepting risk, transferring risk, avoiding risk, mitigating risks, when not to use it, and how to differentiate the two. Your managerial controls, your compensating controls, access controls to your managerial, operational, technical, preventative, detective, responsive, corrective. You're going to learn your SDLC software, your secure software development lifecycle. So that's it for vulnerability management, domain 2. So domain 3, this is your incident response and management. So this is where you're going to get into your attack methodology frameworks. So your cyber kill train, your diamond model, your mirror attack. 3 most, I would say, the more important attack methodologies, and each one has its function. Then given the scenario, perform incident response activities. So, knowing what an IOC is, indicators of compromise, chain of custody, legal hold, stuff like that. You're going to go into your preparation and post-incident activity phases. So how to use playbooks, runbooks, tabletop training, your business continuity, disaster recovery, for forensics, and stuff like that. And then finally, domain 4 at 17%. This is where you learn things more. It's more like a metric area. So you're learning your KPIs, your key performance indicators, your inhibitors to remediation, vulnerability management and reporting, action plans. So this is important because as an analyst, you obviously have to do the paperwork and do the findings to give to your higher ups, right? Also, for example, inhibitors to remediation. So, like, say for instance, you have 2 companies. You have one that makes a computer chip and another company that uses that chip in some sort of aeronautics, right? Some sort of avionics. If there's an SLA between the 2 of them, say that microchip has some proprietary architecture on it or whatever, right? If that aeronautics company has to get an audit or it requests a pen test done on it to, look at its vulnerabilities and make sure that it's, secure, then, that SLA that they have, like say that SLA says, oh, you can't hack into or look into my microchip, then that's going to be an inhibitor to remediation, because for all we know, there could be a vulnerability or some kind of malicious software on that chip, but we don't know, right? But that could be an issue. So those are some of the things that you got to look at in terms of reporting and communication, because this, even though it's not as important, this ties into how we take the technical side and kind of translate that into laymanese for people to look at, right? Because a lot of people, they still, I would say for a lot of companies who are old school, they don't really take cybersecurity as serious as it is, right? And before I went on my little rant there, so you're explaining the importance of vulnerability management reporting and communication, and the importance of incident response reporting and communication. And that's pretty much your syllabus. So it's pretty simple, 4 domains. And then here you have your acronym list, something that everyone should be looking at, including myself, because I don't really look at these things. But it gives you pretty much most of the things that you should know, especially for those of you who are new to cybersecurity. This is a big help to getting yourself familiarized with the terms, because you might see it on an exam and it could help you out a lot, right? So what are my thoughts on it? So again, this exam is not too bad. It really tests your thinking skills. It really puts you in the mindset of a technician. As I said before, in a Sec Plus exam, make sure you're well rested, you eating well, so your brain gets as much nutrients as possible. Again, test in a testing center as opposed to at home, because you want to take as many bad variables out of your testing process, so you can pass the test. I don't remember my score. I think I barely passed though. I think the test is, the minimum is 750 and I got like a 750 something. But I would say it was mostly my busy work schedule and stuff. But and I wouldn't say I'm a cybersecurity genius, but this is just to say that, if you take the time, 2 hours a day, studying the concepts, making sure you understand the differences, studying the technologies, you'll be fine. It's not anything crazy, this exam is. But again, this is an exam that's kind of like under the radar. It's not really taken seriously. A lot of people, they go for Sec Plus and they go straight to CASP or straight to SCSSP. I just wanted to do it because sometimes I'm a try hard, I guess. But I think personally that this test helped me a lot with my foundation to pass the CISSP, and I'll get into that in another video. But yeah, if you have the opportunity to take it, especially if you want to go into blue team, I would definitely recommend it. Because why not? Well, not necessarily why not, but it's a good information, in my opinion. It's one of the exams that can help you get to that next level, i.e. CASP or CISSP, in my opinion, right? But anyways, guys, that's all I have for today. What do you guys think? Do you like the video? Do you have any questions or concerns? Leave it in the comment section below. Excuse me, I'm having a bunch of gas right now. But with that being said, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.